Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we actually have a brand new wave of INFERNOBLE Night cards. I really did not see this coming. I did see it coming that we were going to start getting more Dune reveals very soon. This is Duelist Nexus, the next core set after Cyberstorm Access. All we have revealed so far is like the cover art support, which is like kind of like Synchron support. And then the last night, we just got a new wave of Rex Raptor dinosaur cards. Here we get INFERNOBLEs. If you do not know, INFERNOBLEs were straight up the top of the meta stuff when stuff like Smoke Grenade was still legal. But even after that, it was still like an interesting deck. It has lost Hulk. It has lost a couple of tools, but it's also gained a couple of interesting tools as well. So I am not super well versed. Shout out to my boy Charles from Team COG. This is like literally his #1 deck. I guarantee you he's going to be labbing this hardcore. So I would expect content from him going forward with the new cards, testing with it and all that stuff. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, he may be the place to go. So shout out to him. But let's get into this. Let's see how they do. First off, we have INFERNOBLE Knight Ricciardetto. It's a Fire Warrior tuner effect, level 1. So it's a level 1 Fire Warrior tuner. Searchable off Durendal, searchable off Rhoda. It's also a tuner. It's interesting. 500 attack, 0 defense. You can only use one of its 2 effects per turn and only once that turn. So you cannot use both. It's very interesting. You can banish this card from your hand or graveyard to special summon a level 4 or lower Fire Warrior monster from your hand as a tuner. So whatever you summon, you can turn into a tuner. That's actually pretty nice because I know some of the INFERNOBLEs obviously are tuners, some of them are not, and being able to kind of like adjust what's going to be a tuner and what's not is pretty cool. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target a level 4 or lower Fire Warrior monster in your graveyard, except for another copy of itself. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except warriors. Why did they nerf this card so hard? I really don't understand that at all. Why did they go so hard on nerfing this? You can only use one of these 2 effects, and the second one locks you into warriors for the rest of the turn? This card seemed like they could have just let both effects go in the same turn. I don't really understand that at all. That means it's like an okay extender to extend stuff from hand. It's also an okay card to summon something back, but you can't do both in the same turn. If you could have done both, then like maybe we're talking about something different here, but I don't know. This one's a little weird to me. I don't know. We'll see. Next up, we have INFERNOBLE Knight Turpin. This is a Fire Warrior as well. Level 4, 1400, 1700. Both of those effects are hard once per turn. You can use them both. If you control a monster equipped with an equip card, you can special summon this card from hand or grave. But if it was summoned from grave, banish it when it leaves the field. That's a pretty good extender out the gate. This deck is very easily able to get stuff equipped, so that's already a decent extender. And the fact that it can be used from hand as well is pretty nice. Second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a warrior monster you control, equip this card to it, to that monster you control. Cool. And if the equipped monster is used as synchro material, you can treat it as a tuner. Also nice, honestly. Like, okay. All the other little INFERNOBLEs generally give like a little bonus effect while they're equipped. I know one of them gives targeting protection, one of them gives destruction protection, stuff like that. And so now also being able to use this as almost like a combo piece to like adjust something to a tuner to make it line up, that's pretty nice as well. What I'm seeing here is a little bit of ease of access of like turning anything like into a tuner, which is kind of nice. That could give the deck a little bit more welcome flexibility in terms of lines you're able to take. Very, very interesting. I think this one's a little bit better. I like this card a little more. New Synchro Monster. This is Angelica, Princess of Noble Arms. We'll see how this goes. The Noble Arms monsters have like always been whack. All the girls in any of these archetypes, Noble Knights or INFERNOBLE Knights, have always been cheeks. We'll see. Okay, this is a level 5 Fire Warrior tuner. It is completely generic, any tuner and any non-tuner. 1200 attack, 2400 defense, whatever. You can only use both its effects once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add one card that mentions INFERNOBLE Knight Charles or one whole of Oliphant from deck to hand. I think Oliphant's a trap card. I don't remember it being too overly good, so I'm not sure if that's really anything that crazy, but okay. And the second effect, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, or when this card is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can send one Fire Warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, banish this card until the end phase. Then you can special summon one Roland monster from your deck or extra deck. A lot going on there, but this is just a card that, like, you don't have to play into it per se. This doesn't necessarily strike me as a card you want to end on. Now, that being said, it could still be somewhat worth it if there is a worthwhile card that mentions Charles in the name, or if we, conclude that Hole of Oliphant is worth, you get it so freely here. It is just a +1 while you're synchro climbing, so that is a possibility there. We'll have to see if that's where we go, though. The second effect's pretty shit, though, in my opinion. You're probably synchro climbing with this card into something like a Charles, in which case this card just ends up in grave anyway. So I don't think this field effect is really that relevant at all, unless like gets negated by something and like isn't destroyed, and you just leave it on field. So you're like, here's a blocker, get around it without targeting me. Good luck. I don't think it's that good. I saw this and I did not know what it is. I didn't read it, but this is a Link 1 with 3,000 attack and it points directly down. This is Charlemagne. His name is just simply Charlemagne. I bet there's a ton of like classic lore that from old European not mythology, but folklore, whatever, that like anybody who's fans of like the Knights of the Round Table are like going crazy about. Okay, this is a Link 1. It's a Fire Warrior Charlemagne. He points directly down. It requires one level 9 INFERNOBLE Knight Emperor Charles equipped with an equip card. Okay, listen, that's a hefty cost. So it better be worth it, but okay. I mean, if you get to Charles, you're getting him equipped, because you're probably getting to Charles with one of the little guys engraved that just equipped him for free. So that's like not a problem. If this card is Link summoned, you can target one INFERNOBLE Knight Charles in your graveyard. This card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. Then equip it to this card as an equip spell that gives it 500 attack. Okay. So this card will have Charles's pop effect. When it's equipped with a card, it can pop a card, which, by the way, will happen right here, I believe, because it says replace its effects, then equip it. So I think it should still be able to just pop a card immediately if you want. And then, of course, with stuff like, is it Roland, the quick one, that can quick effect equip itself on the opponent's turn to then get another pop? And I think, and then depending on what else this thing could be a giant towers monster. And he gains 500. So he'll be 35. Wow. That's really strong already, because it just becomes Charles, but bigger. Pops a card immediately. And also its second effect says once per turn when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, send an equipped spell from your hand or face of field. Oh, I don't know, like the Charles you equipped for free? Okay. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Something that's also pretty interesting. I don't believe this card needs Charles equipped to copy its effects. It says this card's name becomes that monster, replace this effect with that monster's effects, then equip it. So I don't think you even need Charles equipped to keep that effect. So like even if you send Charles for this spell and trap negate, you still have just like a Charles pop potentially as well. Wow, this card is a house. Holy crap. It kind of feels a little bad, though, because now it just feels like we're going to make Charles just to link him off for Charlemagne. Because, like, Charlemagne's just better. I mean, kind of feels sad for Charles. Brutal. Okay, let's finish up here. We get moved with some spells. This is a new equip. This is INFERNOBLE Arms Almace, whatever. Equip spell, you can only use both of its effects, or one of its effects once per turn, only once that turn. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can equip one INFERNOBLE Arms equip spell from your deck or graveyard to an appropriate monster you control, then destroy this card. Okay, so kind of grabs another one. That's pretty cool, because that would just make this more copies of Durendal. That's fine, because stuff like I Sold needs to send different names. This could be a playable, even if it's just a one-off, it's like a different name you can play. If you draw it, it's just another Durendal, because you don't want to play too many just like straight up brick, equips, which sometimes can be a thing. But cool, just kind of, usually it's probably just going to throw Durendal in there. I know some of the other equips are like, okay, maybe with the new support, they're a little bit more playable than before. Maybe that gives a little utility there. Unfortunately, it only can equip an INFERNOBLE Arms, though, not any equip. So, Yeah. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard because the monster it's equipped to is sent to grave, you can target one of your fire warriors that's banished or engraved, add it back to hand. That's actually pretty good. I could actually see that coming up. Just equip it, link something off, get a recursion. You know what I mean? Like, not terrible there for sure. So I don't hate that. I think this is a pretty good one. That could actually be playable. From here, we have the Noble Arms Museum. Okay, so this is like a modern-day museum of just all the classic Noble Arms. That's funny. It's a field spell. Fire warrior monster you control gain 500. Nice. Cool. That makes Charlemagne 4,000. Once per turn, you can pay 1,200 to add a Noble Arms card from deck to hand, except for another museum. So that's a searcher. Now, it doesn't search monsters. I am kind of wondering, are we going to have too many copies of Durendal in the deck? Where, like, if you get to Durendal, are the other equips, are any of the other equips good enough to, like, keep searching them out and want to find them? Otherwise, this is a good card. It pluses. Okay, third effect, once per turn, if you applied this card's second effect this turn, so the effect to search, you can target one Noble Knight monster card in your spell and trap zone, special summon it. Okay. Also, if you did not control Emperor Charles at activation, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except warriors. So if you do control Charles, you will not be locked into warriors. If you do, though, you're not locked into anything. Interesting. Okay, this could be playable as well. I mean, just searches a Noble Arms, gives a buff, potentially extension with the third effect. This could be a playable card as well. Cool. And the final card we have here is the Epic Poem of Charles. This is like, again, a super modern version. Someone doing like research on Charles. Really funny that they take this from like a super historical sense to like modern day people just like researching this stuff online, a museum. Kind of a weird turn for this archetype, but cool. It's a normal trap. You can only activate both of its effects once per turn. I'm assuming this will have Charles in the text, which means it'll be searchable off of the new synchro above. Reveal a Noble Arms equipped spell in your hand. If you do, special summon a Noble Knight monster from hand or deck. INFERNOBLE Knight from hand or deck. Then either equip it with the revealed card or send the revealed card to the graveyard. Second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target an INFERNOBLE Knight Emperor Charles you control. Equip it with one Noble Knight monster from your hand or deck as an equip spell. That gives it 500. Just okay. I mean, like, most combos I would assume you're already going to have the two main protection guys, at least, you know, somewhat consistently equipped. I'm not sure if there's anything else that's really that great to equip. And then even the first effect is like, meh. Someone's an INFERNOBLE from hand or deck, but like, none of the main deck INFERNOBLEs are like interruption, I think, on the field, so that's not even great. If it was like Grave, then like maybe, because we could link off Charles after Charlemagne has like copied his effects, equip him, maybe send him to pop something, and then be able to reborn him again so you could have both of their effects to pop potentially, or just multiple problematic monsters your opponent has to deal with. But it only summons INFERNOBLEs from hand or deck, so I don't know if there's really any worthwhile main deck ones that like offer interruptions, so just meh. This card seems meh to me unless there's a different application I'm not seeing. All in all, though, very strange, okay? INFERNOBLEs already have a good start. We still have Isolde, right? We still have a ton of consistency. I mean, think about this. They have Heritage of the Chalice at 3. They have Rhoda. They have 3 copies of Durendal, so that's 7. They also have the girl that like isn't technically out yet, but it was a V-Jump promo, and I'm pretty sure it just equips any INFERNOBLE Arms equip spell like straight from the deck to a monster, so I think that's just 3 more copies of Durendal. And now we have the field spell, which could technically be 4, that's 14 more copies of a way to get to Durendal, as well as the new equip spell, 3 more, that also can just equip Durendal straight from the deck. So we arguably have 17 cards that can just like search a Fire Warrior. That's pretty crazy. Now listen, are you going to play that many? Probably not, because so many of those like have to get to Durendal, hard once per turn. You don't want to just brick on too many copies of Durendal, but if we have other INFERNOBLE Arms that are like just okay extenders, we may actually be able to do something, just because after you use Durendal, they just become cards that help you play through Interruption, play further, get to further combos, and so the overlap may not be as bad as we think. As far as the monsters go, a little bit underwhelming. I thought the 2 spells may be the 2 best cards here. This guy was definitely underwhelming. The fact that you can only do 1 of his effects per turn, just kind of meh. This guy I liked actually a little bit. He was fine. And then her, not sure if like any of these cards she searches are actually going to be worth it in a more competitive build. And the Link is crazy. Link may be the best card here, actually, but we'll see. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff here. If you're an INFERNOBLE fan and you know a lot about the deck, please let me know in the comment section down below. Where do you land on these cards? Where do you land on the deck post these cards? What direction are we taking? What's going to make it into the deck in, you know, your opinion early on? What's not? I'd love to hear all that stuff down below. So throw that down there. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not yet. I am hoping that either tomorrow or Friday we get news on the Fire Legendary Duelist to potentially maybe get the duelists announced, maybe the first couple cards revealed. Very excited for that. Very excited for that set. And these are the first couple reveals for Dune. Cool stuff. Excited to see what else comes. I'll obviously bring you news as it comes, but I'm out of here for today. Subscribe if you haven't. You want to see more stuff from me down the line. I will catch you in the next video, though. Peace.